Hey guys, thanks for clicking on this video. I cannot believe that I am finally doing another book haul, and not only a book haul, but a thrifted book haul, because y'all, I have missed doing book hauls and like thrifting for books. I've missed it so much, but in Washington, all thrift stores were closed for basically the whole year. So I didn't go anywhere and didn't get to browse anything, but now in Tennessee, things are open. There's honestly a great selection of Christian books at Tennessee thrift stores, so just throwing that out there. So I have a ginormous stack of books, like an absolute ginormous stack. These first two are actually ones that Nick wanted, and I obviously encourage him as much as I can. If he's gonna get into reading, I want him to read. So any book that he shows any interest in, I'm like, well, why don't you get it? Also, the prices here are so much better. Paperback books are $1 and their hardcover is $1.50. At least the thrift store we went to. That is amazing prices, okay? This first one is by Beck. It's called Common Sense: The Case Against an Out-of-Control Government. Nick really likes to listen to Steven Crowder and some more like funny political people on YouTube, and so I've listened to Beck multiple times. So I mean, I might even pick this up. It's pretty short, so I think he might actually be able to get through it. Here's the next book that he wanted. This is called 1,000 Splendid Suns, and he told me he got this because he read The Kite Runner. So this is Khaled Hosseini. Forgive me. He wanted this. Like I said, I encourage him to read anytime I can. All right, so now all these next ones are my picks, and I'm so excited for all of them, which is funny because I just made, if you watched my video of books that I want to read this summer, I just made that before this haul. And there are multiple of these that I think I'm gonna try and sneak in to reading this summer because I just don't think I'm gonna be able to wait. I'll let you know which ones those end up being. So this first one is a classic, The 5 Love Languages by Chapman. I have like a second or third book to his series, but I've never actually read the 5 Love Languages book. Everybody talks about it, and I've never read it. So yeah, this kind of just talks about different love languages. So words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. I'm excited to read about it. I think it's gonna be good. I think it's a good resource. I already know my love languages and Nick's, but I think that will kind of give another push to love in ways that are harder for me to love, and also just like loving him because I know that he appreciates certain things more than others. Anyways, so this next one is by Shauna Shanks. The cover's really cool. It's called A Fierce Love: One Woman's Courageous Journey to Save Her Marriage. And so I'll read you the blurb on the back because it sounds so good. When Shauna Shanks heard her husband confess his affair and ask for a divorce, she faced the hardest decision of her life: give up on her marriage or fight for it. Giving up made the most sense, but then Shauna realized that God never intended love to make sense. A Fierce Love is the story of Shauna's journey to love her husband with the audacious, illogical love of God. She dared to follow God's outline for love in 1 Corinthians. Love is patient, love is kind, love does not fail. She realized these words are not just for fairy tale relationships, but for every marriage that is broken and hurting. Through her heart-wrenching journey, Shauna not only found herself falling in love with her husband again, but also falling in love with Jesus, and that was the love that changed everything. Doesn't that sound amazing? I'm sorry, this just like totally touched me. I'm very, very excited to read this. This might be one of the ones that I want to get to this summer. It sounds so, so good. Let me know if you've heard of her or this story. The next one is called Do Something. So this is by Miles McPherson. It says, Make Your Life Count. You want your life to count, but how? By choosing to do something for others. This practical book guides each of us to discover what we were uniquely created to do. Become Jesus's hands and feet on earth and change the world. So yeah, I think it's just gonna be a pretty easy read. Like from looking at it, it looks like a pretty easy read. but hopefully it kind of like recharges me to do acts of love and acts of service and stuff. There can be that like complacency in your Christian life, so hopefully this kind of like pushes me out of that. Oh my goodness, do I want to talk about this one next? This is one that I want to pick up right now. Like when I saw this, I almost started crying just because I was so excited about it. And that is Adopted for Life: The Priority of Adoption for Christian Families and Churches by Russell Moore. The gospel of Jesus Christ means our families and churches ought to be at the forefront of the adoption of orphans close to home and around the world. Y'all, and if you know, I have a huge heart for adoption, and I literally think it is growing stronger every day. When I saw this book, I was like, I have to have this. I have to have this. Especially because like John MacArthur's endorsed it, Albert Mohler, Chuck Colson. I think it is going to be so good. I just want to pick it up right now. And I love, there's so many like underlines in this book. So the person who read it before me, you guys, this book, I can't get into it. I'm really excited to get into it for a lot of different reasons. This next one is by Alistair Begg. I have never read anything by Alistair Begg before, but I really like him. This is called Pathway to Freedom: How God's Laws Guide Our Lives. God's code of conduct is as relevant and insistent today as it's always been. The landscape of contemporary society reveals signs that we neither know nor care about the law of God. There is an absence of a true realistic understanding of the seriousness of sin, superficial preaching that appeals to man's felt needs and affections, a general listlessness and lawlessness in the lives of professing Christians, an absence of the fear of God in public worship and private living, a tendency for churches to rely on strategies borrowed from business and psychology, a growing confidence in ourselves, and an accompanying loss of confidence in God and His Word. Pathway to Freedom will challenge you to think long and hard about the significance of God's law. It has dynamic implications for how each of us live every day. This is going to be amazing. Like, this is going to be amazing. If you guys have read this book, please let me know how you liked it. I think it's going to be so good. Alistair Begg is amazing. He really is. This next one is a marriage book. I really want to read more marriage books. I have a tendency to just focus on my own like self-improvement or my own journey with God, instead of realizing like a huge part of that is my marriage. And so this is one of the books that I thought was really intriguing. The Mystery of Marriage. The Mystery of Marriage stands out from how-to manuals on marriage as a refreshing how-come book. A brilliant celebration of the God-ordained union between man and wife. So, that's another one. This is another marriage book that sounds really interesting. It is by Ed Wheat and Gloria Oakes Perkins. It's called Love Life for Every Married Couple: How to Fall in Love, Stay in Love, and Rekindle Your Love. Just based off the title, it sounds really good. Charles Swindoll endorsed it, so love him. Excited to read that. This one sounded really interesting as well. This is called A Praying Life. I like the cover too. I don't know. It's not like super different, but I like it. Connecting with God in a Distracting World by Paul Miller. So this sounds really good. It sounds really good. Does that, just that little bit? Our world is pretty darn distracting. Let's face it, prayer is hard. In fact, prayer is so hard that most of us simply do not pray unless an illness or a public setting such as saying grace at a meal demands it. Prayerlessness is rooted in a core unbelief that can shape our lives even as Christians. Because of prayerlessness, our lives are often marked by fear, anxiety, joylessness, and spiritual lethargy. If prayerlessness marks your life more often than not, then this book is for you. Basing the text on the popular A Praying Life seminar, which has encouraged thousands of Christians to a vibrant prayer life, Paul Miller writes to the heart of the matter. This is indeed the book for any Christian who wants to know the joy and power of a vibrant prayer life. Sounds super good, honestly. Okay, this one isn't a Christian book. I don't really know what to say about it. Yeah. It's called The Unexpected Legacy of Divorce. It's a 25-year landmark study. This is basically like chronicling kids from divorced families and how that's affected them. I come from a divorced family. This is going to be hard to read, but I think it's going to be really insightful. There was like a little blurb on it. 25 years ago, Judith Wallerstein began talking to a group of 131 children whose parents were all going through a divorce. She asked them to tell her about the intimate details of their lives, which they did with remarkable candor. Having earned their trust, Wallerstein was rewarded with a deeply moving portrait of each of their lives as she followed them from childhood through their adolescent struggles and into adulthood. With The Unexpected Legacy of Divorce, Wallerstein offers us the only close-up study of divorce ever conducted, a unique report that will change our fundamental beliefs about divorce and offer new hope for the future. So, I think it's going to be hard to read, but I think it's going to be really necessary. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. This next one is by Charles Stanley. It's called Landmines in the Path of the Believer: Avoiding the Hidden Dangers. Now, the back of this book sounds really intriguing. So, Satan doesn't usually hit us with an all-out frontal attack. It's the subtle landmines that do the most damage. They are hidden just below life's surface, where they are the hardest to detect. At the slightest misstep, they explode beneath us, tearing emotional holes in our lives and leaving us feeling as if we are separate from God and His eternal love. But this is never the case. While sin has consequences, God's restoration is ours the moment we turn to Him and seek forgiveness. So I think these are going to be chapters in the book. So he'll touch on pride, jealousy and envy, insecurity, compromise, unforgiveness, disappointment, fear, immorality, and laziness. This book is going to be amazing if it touches on all of these things, like biblically. I'm so looking forward to it because I tell you, I have struggled with all of those things. All right, these last 3 books are just cute books that I kind of bought just so they would look nice on my bookshelf, but they are all Christian books. So, I mean, here's their little like covers. Hello, are you focused? I can't tell. So, the covers look cool. This is called Through Night to Morning. It is a Christian book. I'm not really sure what it's about because they don't really have like blurbs or anything. This one is the Epistle of Paul the Apostle to the Galatians. And then this one is Gospel Hour Sermons. So, I just think that they're cute, but I probably will end up reading them too. But I just like the hardcover. They look old. They are old, actually. Like, does it say when they came out? 1963. So they are older. This one was 1962, and this one, I'm not sure. Anyways, so 1960s, early 1960s. I think they're super cool. I think they're gonna look really nice on the bookshelf, and I probably will pick them up at some point as well. Okay guys, here it is, so I don't drop it. These are all the books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 books. Woo! Anyways, that is the full haul. This was so fun. I missed thrifting so much. Let me know if there's any of these books that you like or recommend me doing a reading vlog, whatever it may be. Love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!